It's my last day here in this city, in this house. Tomorrow, or even today, I go to London and then I go traveling and I don't come back for a while. And I'm recapping the first proper journal that I started about 2 years ago. I've mentioned this journal and this other one here. Like, I've mentioned two journals when I talk about like my stories in terms of like being a degenerate and like relationships. There was like two journals that were very important to me, two journals that I filled out to weigh the decision to leave everything that I knew, the girl that I was with, who I was literally living with, who I had such like this connection, this attachment to. Recapping this journal here, it just reminded me of like some extra stuff that like I was going through, and there's just so many feelings and emotions. Like I was helping this homeless guy because I worked in a homeless accommodation. I worked in like this sort of temporary shelter for the homeless, and the Manchester council, like the city council, they would like put the homeless guys there, but it was only like a temporary accommodation. And there was this guy who was like from Pakistan and he didn't speak any English, and he got a room there, but then it was like he was denied for like every benefit. So he had literally no income. He was like one of the kinds of homeless, which was like, you know, a lot of the homeless are like on drugs and they don't actually need money or food or anything. Like, but this was one of those homeless guys who like was hungry, like literally painfully hungry. I remember being like broke as fuck, very, very depressed. This is me. I was really broke. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was like smoking weed every day, eating shit food, just like hating my life. And I pretty much took responsibility to like look after this guy. Like I had like very, very little money. Like I was working part-time. And I remember like I would go to the shops for him and like buy him food. And me and the girl that I was with, like we would literally go and do like food shops for him and everything. And eventually, you know, a little bit of a bond formed with that. And then he just gets removed from the accommodation with no alternative. He'd never been like on the street homeless, and this was like his first experience. And I was kind of like expecting it because it was a temporary accommodation. But eventually, like one day I walked into work and my manager just said like, yeah, like, you know, his stay is over. And that was so fucking like, there was so much stress. And so my shift begins and I get a call and it's from him. And like, he doesn't speak English or anything. So he was like speaking like Urdu to me, but it's like my Urdu's kind of broken. And to be like, weren't really able to communicate. But eventually I kind of get the idea that like, he's next door. Next door is a hotel. And like, he didn't have a room there. He didn't have money for it. He was literally just like sat downstairs in the hotel, like clutching like a box of cereal that he had like taken from like the homeless accommodation, just like holding onto it. I literally felt so totally responsible for this guy, and he had like mental health problems as well. He had, I think, schizophrenia. And I remember like bringing him into the accommodation, but into like the office part, and knowing that that's okay, that gets you fired literally. So I brought him in there and like we're trying to figure it out. I'm on my night shift, so it's like 8 p.m. or something, and I was like literally working like the night shift up until like 4 a.m. or something how it used to be. And yeah, bring him in, and I'm calling every like homeless accommodation thing that I can. None of them's picking up. That was so fucking stressful. I remember like not a single like sort of service picked up. Like I called every single one. I had already been calling and emailing for the past few weeks to try and sort it out and everything. And this was like just when COVID was really getting weirdly serious and no one knew what it was. It was like panic. People were like buying out like the toilet paper, you know, like going to shops and like ransacking the shops and everything. So it was like a really panicky, stressful time. And I remember literally being there for like hours. Like I could physically feel like the symptoms of stress like high inside of me. Like thinking about it now, like I've literally just started sweating underneath this bathrobe. And eventually like I posted it to like Reddit, Reddit is like this it's kind of like social media website where I posted there onto the Manchester, so the city page, like the page of the city that we lived in. And like straight away, like kind, generous people start coming in and saying like, oh, they'll buy him a hotel and everything. And I remember on that first night, like 2 people bought hotels and everything. So straight away, like, okay, that's a bit of a relief. Like, at least like for now, it's like a band-aid over the situation. So like I get him an Uber with like money that I don't even fucking have, man. Get him an Uber to like the nearby hotel. He takes his stuff there and he just like sits there for like a day or something. And I remember thinking, okay, well, what more can we do? He has no money, I have no money, and just trying to figure things out, man. I remember just emailing and calling for the entire next day and like being so stressed with that, looking on like Airbnbs and everything. And then I don't know how I really got the idea, but like the same woman who had bought him the hotel, I just kind of called her, explained the situation, and she just like randomly just said like, yep, I'll pay for I'll pay for all of it. And so she paid like 300, 400 pounds for like this month's stay in this Airbnb. And I remember it was like, this was such a crazy time because like the streets were like empty. Everyone's scared of COVID. Everyone's staying inside. This was like when you would be classed as like a key worker. So I was a key worker because I was working with the homeless and everything. So I was still like legally allowed to like move around and stuff. And I remember just like taking Ubers like all around Manchester when it was just silent and like eerie and like no one knew what the fuck was happening and everything, and just like transporting like this homeless guy from like one hotel to like this Airbnb like in some part of like Manchester, like Didsbury. I think it was Didsbury. I'm not too sure where it was now, but getting moved there. So he sat there. This was all with like Ubers and like stuff that I literally couldn't even afford. I literally had about £100 to my name. I remember like me and the girl that I lived with went to Aldi and like did like a food shop for him, like £20, got him like toothpaste and like some food and everything, because he literally like fully relied on us to like eat and stuff. Move him in, and then just so much stress. Like, bro, I literally remember like I wasn't sleeping. Like I would try to sleep next to my kind of like my girlfriend. It's this weird situation. I don't know if I can even call her my girlfriend, but like I would try and like sleep and I would wake up with like buckets of sweat. I remember it being like a full-on like very, very uncomfortable thing near nighttime where like to sleep I needed to smoke weed, and like I'd fully like pass out, go to sleep, and I'd like full on like I would sweat such an uncomfortable amount to the point that like do I even call her my girl? I don't know, but the girl was like next to me in bed and stuff, and like she'd always be like pissed off and stuff that I was like so like moist, so wet with like sweat all over the bed. I'd like literally I'd go through like 2 towels in the nighttime because I would wake up with fucking night sweats because like of the stress that I was in. And I remember like taking my laptop to the house that we had put him in and then trying to like reapply for the benefits that he had been rejected for, and really pleading with them and everything, and it was like random things where like because he was kind of like disabled and he wasn't like able to really navigate a lot of life, he really like needed me, which was like a big level of like responsibility. So there'd be a time when like he'd call me and like I wouldn't really understand him properly, but what I'd grasp is like, oh, he needs his medication, but like they're not giving it to him because like his card's not working or something, and like so he has to like he told me about that case, so he has to go to like get the doctor to get medication, so I buy him an Uber there and everything, then buy him one back because he wasn't able to pick it up. I even like ask him like, oh, let me speak to the person behind the desk, and they're saying like, oh, his card's not working. Then I'm asking them, okay, can I like pay for it online or something, anything? But they're just like, nah. So I have to get him an Uber back home. Then I go with him the next time and pay with my card because his card's like blocked or something. And imagine trying to help a homeless man whose card, like debit card, is blocked and blocked by his bank or something. And like you don't even really speak the same language, and and he doesn't speak English. He can't even really communicate what's going on, and you're trying to like figure out, okay, how can we fucking like do anything here? It's very difficult, man. But I remember just like couple of times a week I would go there and literally just like on my laptop just like be asking him questions, look through like his files and everything. And we apply for something in the UK which is called universal credit, and I remember just like sending it off, and they needed to do like interviews and stuff and all this, like they needed like to call me, they needed to call him, and like there were times when like it was just it's insignificant, but there was times when, for example, there was going to be like an interview like between both of us, like a call, and then so I get like an Uber to his place, which costs like £15. It's like, it's really money that I don't fucking have, bro. I was literally so broke. Get there, and like when I log onto like the laptop, it says like, oh, like the call's been cancelled and it's tomorrow now. So it's like, okay, I get a £15 Uber back home, then tomorrow, do you know what I mean? Like, and like technically, like I could have gotten public transport, it would have been cheaper, but then I had fucking anxiety and PTSD from public, like. But then one day, it just says application accepted, and now he's starting to get £700 a month through that, like sort of, it's kind of like government welfare called universal credit. So he gets £300 like sort of cash transferred to his bank account, which we also like unblocked, and like £300 sent directly to like the property person, like the Airbnb person, so like he can stay there longer term and everything. And yeah, so that's like, it was success, I guess. But like, I never really felt like proud of this, and I kind of like, for some reason I still kind of don't, and I don't really know why. And I think the reason why is because everyone then asks like, oh my god, you know, that's such a good story, so like, where is he now, like, do you still keep in touch? And then I'm always hesitant to just kind of tell him the truth, which is like, I abandoned him after I got him set up there. That was like all this, you know, these pages of this journal is me just saying like, I want to move home, I don't want to live here, I don't want to be with this girl, I don't want to be in this like situation, but I need to set this guy up first. Just constantly saying that, because this was like over months, bro. Imagine months, like every single day, day in, day out, with this in your mind, and also like smoking weed because like your mental's fucked. You're not training, you're not exercising, you're not doing anything healthy, you know, all that fucking shit that I've mentioned. And eventually, when I did get him set up, I think within like a week or two, I left. I moved back home, started this new chapter of my life. But then he just like, he kept on calling me, and he like 100%, like he was like lonely and he just wanted to chat, but also like he just kind of needed help with like everything. And then it made me realize like, this is the kind of person who would need help like forever. And if I'm here, it's like with every task that he needs. So one of them was like, he needs to go pick up the medication again or something. It's like, I would literally just be like his personal assistant for all of it. And whilst I was just trying to start fresh in here, like in this house, like I had moved from the city to here, and I kept it up for like maybe a couple of weeks. And I remember telling my parents, and they were just saying like, you know, you can end it now, you don't have to like pick up the phone. But I felt so like responsible and so like guilty. But then eventually, like I literally just got this idea, bro, like just block him. So I blocked him on my phone and never heard of him again. That's why it leaves me with this like weird feeling where it's like, I remember just, I went through a lot with this, and I just don't really know if like I did it well. I don't know if I was like, yeah. But I really struggled during this time. I'm just recapping this journal because it's like, I'm a very like sentimental guy, and I'm just kind of preparing to like leave in about an hour. And so this is the journal that really started it all for me. This was like the first proper journal, and it's got so many thoughts of like, of plans, and of just saying like, constantly, bro, just literally saying like, I need to stop smoking, I should move home, why am I living here? Here's like 10 reasons for moving home. If I moved home, I could focus on my goals, I could take you, like there was a bit where I literally was contemplating YouTube as a business, and I was like, oh my god, you know, like it could work and everything. I was just contemplating, like, there's a music video that I watched and I journaled about on this, and it's a music video that, like, I still kind of watch with, quite recently, and with Sam as well, like, he really likes this song. It's called Territory. If you just, like, search Territory, on YouTube, it'd probably come up. It's, like, some, like, house techno-ish type of song. It's got, like, a picture of, like, some guys who are, like, maybe Arabian or something like that. And I remember watching it just a while ago, and like I journaled about it, saying like, that's what I want, bro. It seems like the guy's like got so much adventure. He's like brave in the world. And one thing I specifically wrote was that he was like braving the world, like single. He was allowing like other people to join his journey when he sees fit, but he's remaining like and acting as an individual. And then I wrote, years I've spent, 2 years together, and also spent 2 years wishing to be single without the attachment. It's always felt like a trap. Like I was deep in this, like it was such like a situationship. Like it wasn't even technically a relationship. I never made it serious, never really wanted to, never trusted her. She didn't trust me. We were toxic together. And we just kind of lived together out of like comfort and complacency, and just stayed together out of like some cost fallacy, and because like we were used to each other, and like when we would kind of split apart a little bit, it would be the very comfortable thing to like come back together. And both of us had kind of like had lives before us, but then we kind of lost all of our friends, all of our like life as an individual, to just merge together and do the same things with each other every day. It's when things go worse when I regret everything. I wonder how I've stayed here for so long. It's hard not to view it as wasted time. Why spend years with a girl I have never trusted? I think this is such a beautiful and emotional practice, if you've been journaling for a while, to just go through your old journals and like feel the emotions that you were feeling then. I remember being in such a tricky situation because the way out of this was to move back home, and I wasn't getting along with my brother and my father at the time, like not at all. And so it was like I was stuck between a rock and a hard place with decisions that were too hard to make, especially whilst I was like high every single day. Fucking hell. This was the first time that I did gratitude journaling as well. 26th of March 2020. What am I grateful for right now? The nice weather and warmth. I love the sun. Everyone I know is in good health. The opportunity to help someone. The kindness of strangers. The ice cold bottle of water right next to me. The internet. this is actually the first, I was hoping to get to this point. This is the first time that I wrote about traveling seriously, focusing on the fun experience of new places and freedom. And I wrote about digital nomading, which was something that I heard about and I watched videos about, which was like you could just take a laptop, work online, and go to like cheaper places and live in like really like tropical, nice places. Imagine a few months somewhere beautiful, spend the first few weeks traveling, staying in hostels, adventure, then settling in an Airbnb to work in nearby co-working spaces. And I start like calculating how much it would cost, like £500 in flights, £1,500 a month in spending money. Then I'm calculating like how much money I need to make. Then I realize like it's gonna cost about like it's going to cost more than I thought. It was going to cost about £3,000 to £4,000 for like a 2-month trip. And then I asked myself, like, is it even worth it then? Because at the time, like, that was an unimaginable amount for me, especially to make online, like £4,000. Now, the business makes a lot. So very quickly, I made the plan to like get into digital nomad and to go on this trip. Realized it was going to cost me about £4,000, which would take me months to save up, and then realized that, yep, no, like I'm not going to do that then. And so just like that, my dreams were shattered. And I literally, this is a page on this journal with titled concluding digital nomad dreams. This is a lifestyle I could potentially do when I have the means to. This was 2 years ago. About 2 to 3 months after I wrote this is when I moved back home. I took YouTube full time since then. And this trip that I'm going on, like I literally leave for it in an hour, I have kept in mind for 2 years. I've sacrificed, like, it's not even the trip anymore. It's not even about like, oh, you know, like going to Thailand and stuff. It's like, it's more what it resembles for me, which is like the shining bright light out of that dark period of my life. It really resembles like goal setting. The goal was, okay, get to the point where I can afford a trip like this with no problem. Still a lot to take in, man. Still, bro, still weighing up the decision to move back home. The amount of like, you see that, like the you split the page down the middle and you do like the for and against. I've done like 20 of those so far in this journal, and there's still another journal that I haven't even recapped. Is it the right decision to go home? Then I make the decision, okay, I'm gonna go home like in 2 days, and then I don't go home, and this is the first time then that I wrote a timetable. See on that side, it's titled "Create the Perfect Day." That's at 6 a.m. wake up, 6 to 7 a.m. morning ritual, meditate, planning, 7 to 8 cardio, 8 to 8:30 breakfast, 8:30 to 12 animate. I was learning animation, bro. You realize how many fucking things I was doing at the time. I was learning animation and everything. Goddamn. This is when I was starting to read like productivity books, and like this stuff changed my life, because I always struggled to being able to like do work, especially by myself as an entrepreneur, and it was so important for me to actually like seek advice for that and like go online and research how do you actually make yourself do the work. I feel like I've had an constantly undeciding mindset for years. Leave her or not. Move back home or stay. I get excited for one choice and then sad for the other. Leaving and being single is 100% the right choice to progress. I know for a fact I would be happier. I also know for a fact that there will be quite a gut aching moments of regret and loneliness. But that moment will come at one point or another. Why not start it now? there's too much to go through, man. I mean, I'm feeling the emotions of everything that I've journaled about. So obviously I don't look so like happy. I'm going through some negative emotions. I'm gonna journal a bit more like positively just before I go. Got 53 minutes. And it's fucking surreal, bro. I came back home. Like, I don't know if I've like told you like how important like this moment is for me. Like, I came back home to make a business that could make online. Like, this all started as a business, man, you know, and right now it's like, okay, it's YouTube, cult leader, doing a movement, trying to change lives, help men improve themselves. But honestly, like, I am an entrepreneur first and foremost. I started this as a means to an end because I literally had lived a life that I didn't want, and I realized that I could provide value to people, make money online, and that would give me like an intense sense of like freedom that I could then go around and travel. And this goal I set 2 years ago when like I was unproductive and like I didn't even know about goal setting. I didn't even know about self-improvement. I started with this goal for this trip 2 years ago, and it's here today. Like, I moved back home to my family home with a purpose to develop this business, and so I could like go back out into the world. Like, I literally, when I was in that stage of my life when I was living with that girl in the student city, I had like this weird dream, like not dream, but like, you know, this weird like feeling like I really wished I could just be locked in a room which had like nothing but like a computer and internet, you know, just like full focus, just nothing else. Okay, let me just fucking wake up, let me just focus, let me just do my things. I didn't want to be distracted. I didn't want to be dating a girl. I didn't want to be smoking weed all the time and stuff. And that's exactly the environment I created here with this little room. This is like my childhood room that I lived in for 2 years. And man, like the sacrifices that I made for this is like, it's so important to talk about, man, because this wasn't like, it's been kind of easy in a sense, like, you know, my journey. But at the same time, like, the hardest part of it for me was just like just getting started, moving back home, committing to the process. After that, it was relatively easy for me in terms of like growing on YouTube and everything, because I knew that I was like built for this. It really, really feels like I'm about to start like a new chapter of my life. Like, I'm fully, like, I said goodbye to everyone that I love yesterday. Like, I said goodbye, and like, you know, with everyone, it was like fine. It was kind of hype, and I was smiling and everything. It was slowly hitting me more and more like, oh shit, I'm actually doing this. Like, my flight is tomorrow. It's a one-way ticket halfway across, like across the fucking world. It's a one-way ticket. There's no coming back for a while. Obviously, like, I can come back if I really hate it abroad or something. I really, really want to come back, I can do. But it's like, I want to stay away for at least 3 months before I come back, if not longer, if not about 6. The idea is like, come back when we're going to hit 1 million subscribers, and then I'm going to move cities as well. And saying goodbye to everyone, it felt like, you know, kind of like a little bit like sad, a little bit emotional. But then it was the last person I said goodbye to yesterday. It was the last person, like, after like just seeing a bunch of people over the last few days in the gym, all the people that I've become friends with. And then my friend Chris, the one that I've mentioned like a bunch of times, he's the one that I go to the gym with. And he really has become like my ultimate like best friend. Like, Sam is as well, but like with Chris, it's like I saw him like almost every single day to go to the gym together. And that to me is like, that's so significant. Every day at 9 a.m. he'd be outside my house. I'd hop in the car. He's the kind of person, like, the only friend I've ever had who, like, we put music on in the car, and I have total comfort in like rapping and singing. And obviously, I don't sound good or anything, but it's like, you have those kinds of friends where you're like so comfortable with. I notice myself, like, I'm actually affectionate with him, and like I am quite an affectionate guy, but I have usually like kind of like hindered that down, especially for like male friends. But I've noticed with my friend Chris that like I'm constantly just kind of like touching him, and like that's how I fucking show love. And I've just noticed that I do that to him, and it's like, bro, I love the guy. And so saying goodbye to everyone was like, oh, you know, it's, you know, a little bit, you know, I was feeling it obviously. But then he drops me off, he gets out the car, and he says, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna give you a hug. So like, he gets out the car, and it's like, it fucking hits me. And I just envision making a video for this second channel. Like, I kind of visualized it in a split second, maybe 3-6 months from now, where I'm in like some like foreign country, and it's a video that would be titled like "Everyone I Love is Halfway Across the World." And I'm just like so emotional and crying and feeling like lonely that there's so many people around me, but it's like the people that I love, the people that like I've bonded so much with over the last like 6 months, they're here. And I think it's so important. Like I'm so grateful for the people that I have in my life, and it feels so weird to think like this is the happiest I've ever been, this is the social I've ever been, this is the best people that I've ever had around me, and I'm leaving for growth. I'm leaving to like take a trip that's like gonna cause more growth. And it really is like kind of similar to like the experience of like what I've just read in the journal, like leaving this girl. It's so, bro, I'm such a sentimental guy. It's like it's getting me in my feels, man. Just saying goodbye to him, I hugged him like literally 4, 5, 6 times. I literally ran back to his car and I hugged him, like kissed him on the cheek before I left. To think like I'm not gonna see my friend Chris, I'm not gonna see like my boys in the gym, Scott, Zach, James. I remember when I first mentioned on my main channel that I had signed up to like this fancy gym in town and everything, and like that was like 6, 7 months, and like I don't know if I sound like cocky as fuck, but I really feel like I entered this gym as like somewhat of like a nobody, no one knew me, and I was a little bit awkward and stuff, and like I fucking like made myself known there, bro. I came in, fucking like colonized the scene, and like a lot of people know me there now. And I don't know, that means a lot to me, man. That makes me feel like, because I'm used to being somewhat like invisible and silent and stuff just a few years ago, and like I have such a beautiful friendship group there, and I can't believe like I have so many people I love, such good friends, and I'm literally fucking leaving. I think the next, oh man, this is like, today is the fucking chapter, bro. I have like 45 minutes left. I pack one more bag, I go downstairs, hug all of my family goodbye, and then it's like, okay, the new chapter begins, bro. It's like, this is fucking like this chapter of my life is ending. Do you see how important this is for me? Like 2 years ago, moved back home, and it's like I've fucking done exactly what I said I would for these 2 years, like exactly what the plan was. I did it. I set this goal 2 years ago in the depths of depression, when I used to smoke weed and watch porn and play video games and eat junk food every single day. I set this goal, and I knew that I was coming home with an intention. And it's like the intention has been conquered. I've done it. I've literally achieved that goal. I'm done with this, like this chapter of my life, and I've got nothing but like love and gratitude for it. Like this room around me right now, like it's with a purpose that I have like so many papers over my wall. Like I feel so proud of myself. I feel like I've really like done bits. Oh my god, bro. Boys, this is what happens when you do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Give me a kiss, bro. Mwah.